These are 20 things you didn't know about Shaq. And for number 20, it's impossible that you knew Shaq is an MMA fighter.
MMA is the reason I became a champion. Because when I played basketball, it wasn't basketball, it was more wrestling. So when I trained MMA with John Burke, I came back in the best shape of my life.
Yeah, knowing that Shaq is 7'1" and skilled in MMA is terrifying. But there's something equally scary about number 19. What's even more surprising is that Shaq was already 6'4" when he was just 10 years old, which you may not have been aware of.
When you were 10 years old, you were 6'4".
True.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a child. That's a grown-ass man. Shaq's massive physique is certainly impressive, but even more noteworthy is his impact on Twitter. Did you know that he was actually the first person ever to receive verification on the platform? In 2008, there were many people impersonating Shaq on Twitter, some even using his name to scam others. To combat this, Shaq created his own official handle, @TheRealShaq, which helped somewhat, but fake accounts were still tricking people. Finally, in June of 2009, Twitter came up with an ultimate solution. They gave Shaq the very first blue checkmark in social media history. It's incredible to think how Shaq changed the world, both on and off the basketball court. Number 17 on the list is just as surprising as the others. Did you know that Shaq was supposed to be in the car with Notorious B.I.G. the night he was killed? It all began in 1996, when Shaq met the legendary rapper and the two hit it off. They even collaborated on a song together called Can't Stop the Rain, which marked the beginning of a friendship. Fast forward to March 8, 1997, just 2 days after Shaq's birthday, and Biggie wanted to celebrate. He invited Shaq to join him for a night of partying, music, and girls. Shaq was on board, but ended up falling asleep just hours before the party was set to start. This twist of fate might have just saved his life. It's incredible to think about how different things could have been if Shaq had been there that night.
I had on the cold white suit and with the white hat and all that. I was waiting on Uncle Jerome, and I put some headphones on. Usually Uncle Jerome would just come up, but I guess he tried to call the front desk and they wouldn't let him through. I was actually on my way. I was dressed, ready to go.
Shaq says he fell asleep and never made it to the party. A call from his mother woke him up at 4 a.m.
She said, "Did you go to the party?" And I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" She said, "You know your friend was shot." It was a sad day for everyone. Sad day for everyone.
Man, it's hard not to feel bad for Shaq. However, there's another surprising fact about Shaq that might make you feel just as incredulous. Did you know that during his NBA career, Shaq only made 1 three-pointer? It's true, his shooting skills were never really his strong suit, but I must admit that was a clutch shot for Shaq. Moving along to number 15. I bet you didn't know Shaq is a cop. No, really.
And this was on my list as a youngster. I said one day I want to be a cop. So when I started pursuing that here in Los Angeles, like a lot of people would give me badges. And I was like, you know what? If you give me a badge, when I go out on the street, the officer's not going to respect me. So I made them put me through 2 different police academies. And I became a full-fledged reserve officer, level 1. Level 3 is security guard status. Level 2 is you have to ride with another officer. Level 1, you can ride by yourself. You have full-fledged police officer duties.
It's clear that Shaq takes his responsibility to serve and protect seriously. Over the years, he has worked for an impressive 11 different police departments, serving as deputy sheriff, a U.S. Marshal, and even becoming a detective.
Hi, I'm Detective Shaquille O'Neal, Doral Police Department. Why I wear the badge? Plain and simple. The badge made me who I am.
It's clear that Shaq is a hero for real, but even heroes need saving sometimes. Number 14 on the list is a perfect example of this. Did you know that Shaq was almost eaten by a shark? It's hard to imagine such a terrifying scenario happening to someone like Shaq.
Topside, ABC. How's our boy looking down there?
A little nervous, but he's doing good. Usual. There's literally a dozen or more, and they're all just frenzied right up against the cage. Look, there's a shark taking in the cage!
What? Sorry, what did you say?
There's a shark in the cage! I gotta get him out!
Went in the window.
There's a little shark in the cage!
Go in there.
While Shaq may have a fear of sharks, there's something even scarier about number 13 on the list. Believe it or not, Shaq actually started his very own Halloween festival.
It's me, Shaq. This year, I am taking over Southern California for my own twist on Halloween at Shacktoberfest! Family-friendly trick-or-treating during the day, frightfully fun nightmare haunted trails, exciting live entertainment, and delicious food and drinks. Sorry about that.
Wow, Shaq really is full of surprises. Not only did we learn about his spooky Halloween festival, but we also discovered he's quite the inventor, from the Shaq waffle maker to the Shaq grill, and even a Shaq shoe phone. It seems there's nothing he can't create. But in 2021, he outdid himself with his most brilliant invention yet.
Hey America, you're going to love this.
Why is it so hard to boil eggs? They're either too soft, too hard, or explode in the boiling water. But now you can make a lot of eggs in a little time with the Shaq Egg Maker. It makes 14 hard-boiled eggs exactly how you like them.
When you see the name Shaq, you know it's all that.
Yeah, Shaq's been changing lives ever since this thing dropped.
We're going to use our Shaq Egg Maker today. Okay, we got our 14 eggs in there, got holes in the top of them, and this is how it's supposed to look when you start making it.
Shaq truly is changing the world one egg at a time. But back in his NBA days, he was changing the league in a different way. He was known as the biggest prankster the NBA had ever seen. From forcing rookies to carry his bags, to stuffing trash in people's cars, recording diss tracks, and even tackling trainers for no reason. He did it all. However, there was one prank that went way too far.
I want to ask you about this, and we can go into it if you want to talk about it, the little back and forth war between you and Lou Amundsen. So him and Lou Amundsen are going back and forth. This motherfucker put Lou's mouthpiece in his tights for shoot-around. Went through the whole shoot-around, quietly puts it back up in his thing. But by the time the game comes around, you must have told people, because more people knew about it, so Lou puts his mouthpiece in after coach talks, so we're about to huddle, and we just lose it, bro.
That's pretty nasty there, Shaq. But look, now we're in the top 10, and you're about to discover a new side of Shaq that you never knew before. While you may have been aware that Shaq struggled with free throws, you probably didn't know the reason behind it. When Shaq was just 11 years old, he fell from a tree while playing, breaking both of his wrists. Unfortunately, they didn't heal properly, leaving his left hand permanently bent inward and making it impossible for him to shoot with proper form, according to Lakers coach Del Harris. Despite the criticism he receives, Shaq persevered through his injury. However, what happened to him pales in comparison to number 9 on our list. You may not have known that Shaq was once a bully as a child, but one day he took it too far and nearly killed someone.
I was always a bully until one day in 5th grade, I had a spit wad. I threw it at the chalkboard. It splattered. This kid rats me out. But prior to that, my father said, if you get suspended again, I'm gonna kill you. First I go to the office, 3 days. So now I gotta go home.
You're suspended for 3 days.
Suspended for 3 days. So now I gotta go home. I already know what I'm getting when I get home. But before I go home, I'm gonna whoop your ass. So I'm beating this kid up, and I'm kicking this kid, and he has an epileptic seizure. It's just me and the kid out there, and he's on the ground shaking, and now I'm frightened because, uh-oh. So then a guy comes, and he saves the kid, and, but after that, I go home, I get disciplined, my mother pulls me to the side and says, you're too big and too strong, you can't ever do that again. And that kind of stayed with me. I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. So then I was like, I'm not gonna beat people up. Let me go to plan B on how to get them to like me. Because I was always a class clown, funny guy. So now let me just, do this a lot to get people to like me. And I just stuck with that rather than being a bully.
Man, I'm glad Shaq got his act together. This brings us to number 8, because I bet you didn't know just how big-hearted Shaq really is.
Whenever I go to a store from now on, I'm buying somebody else something, period. All right, grab your bike, make it quick. Every day I leave the house, I gotta bless somebody. I can't keep all this. Ooh, mongoose. I had a mongoose when I was little, damn. Sure you don't want no mongoose, cuz? All right, get it. Hey, listen to me. Don't take nothing else from no strangers.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's roll.
Yeah, Shaq is like NBA's Mr. Beast, splurging on everything from bikes to laptops to even a guy's engagement ring. Shaq is not just a big spender, but also a custom-made guy, as you'll find out in number 7. Being 7'1", he can't simply walk into any store and find items that fit him. Therefore, he has everything custom-made to his size, including shoes, bikes, and cars. In fact, his entire life is tailored to his measurements. He even bought a bed that is so enormous it can accommodate up to 50 people.
Do you still have the biggest bed in the world? Remember that? What did we talk about?
Yes.
It's Orlando, right?
Yeah, it's in Orlando.
And how big is it?
It fits 50 people.
50?
Yeah.
Man, I want to jump on Shaq's bed, but I have no interest playing his video game called Shaq Fu, seen in number 6. It was 1994 when Shaq released what is considered one of the worst video games of all time, which was a fighting game that he had created himself. Despite his intentions of making a splash in the gaming world, it failed to meet expectations.
Join Shaq in the fight against Set Raw and his evil henchman Beast. Kick into action in Shaq Fu.
Yeah, the game failed miserably with a score of 2.9 out of 10 from critics, and it was despised so much that a website was launched with the sole purpose of eliminating all existing copies of the game. It was a strange situation, but Shaq has more pressing matters to attend to. In number 5, for instance, did you know that Shaq is a real doctor? After dropping out of college to pursue a career in the NBA, Shaq pledged to return and complete his studies. He took some classes while playing basketball, and eventually in 2011, after retiring from basketball, he earned his doctorate degree and became known as Dr. Shaquille O'Neal.
It is my number one accomplishment because I didn't think I could do it at first. For the children that look up to me, for a guy that went to school and stopped and, wants to continue his education, I want to be the one to set an example.
After such significant accomplishment, Shaq should feel a sense of pride. However, what he ought to be ashamed of is ranked at number 4 on the list. It's probably not common knowledge, but Shaq has by far the ugliest feet in NBA history.
Come on. Oh, Jesus Christ. Shaq. Babe, look at this man's feet.
Oh, my God, yo. This was what we did at halftime when Shaq wanted to show us.
Guard your eyes.
So I had them Fred Flintstones, baby.
Yeah.
Yabba dabba doo.
Dead man, welcome.
Oh, my goodness. No, the other one. The other one. You got it painted,
Start the music. Start the music.
Yeah, someone needs to get Shaq some lotion ASAP. Now we have arrived at the top 3, which will provide us a deeper understanding of Shaq's life. Firstly, it is doubtful that you were aware of the fact that Shaq has sold billions of dollars worth of shoes. It all began in the 90s when he landed a lifetime endorsement deal with Reebok valued at $40 million. Over the following years, Shaq revolutionized the sneaker industry by releasing signature shoes that sold for up to $300 per pair. However, there was one major problem.
I had a Reebok deal, 40 for 5. And I'm leaving the arena one day, and this lady she's ripping me a new hat. You mother charging these babies all this money for the shoes. So I had like a $2,000 in my pocket. I was like, ma'am, I don't make the prices. Here you go. And she smacked the money in my hand. Why don't you motherfuckers make a shoe that's affordable?
Yeah, as a result of this confrontation, Shaq realized he needed to rectify the situation. He put his thinking cap on and devised an ingenious plan.
And I thought about it. And I was like, you know what? She's right. So that day, cut ties with Reebok, started my own brand. Yeah, that day.
What do you define cut ties?
I told him, I said, keep the money. This ain't right. Don't want to make it no fight. I'll still wear the shoes that I wear during the season, but I'm going to be looking to do my own thing. And I went to my favorite store, Walmart, and we did a deal. And I was in all stores, and my price point for the shoes were $29, $19. And since then, we sold over 400 million pairs.
Shaq's shoes sold a staggering 400 million pairs, generating over $4 billion in revenue. Sheesh! This man is truly a genius. It seems there is nothing he cannot accomplish. And at number 2, he even added an award-winning producer to his long list of accomplishments. In 2021, Shaq discovered the inspiring story of Lucia Harris, the first woman ever drafted by an NBA team. he decided to executive produce a documentary on her called The Queen of Basketball, which turned out to be a huge success. The documentary won the Short Documentary of the Year award at the 2020 Academy Awards, earning Shaq an Oscar for his producing skills. This man has dabbled in movies, video games, music, and much more. However, there is one thing that he does not do, and that is taking drugs. Growing up, Shaq had a drill sergeant as a father figure who instilled in him the importance of staying on the right path.
When I was young, I used to get punished for every athlete's mistake.
If you made a mistake?
No, if a professional athlete made a mistake.
Then you would get punished?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Because my father would always come in and start my discipline off, if you ever.
Oof.
Right, so if you ever hit a woman, I'll kill you. Go to the room. The worst spanking I got ever was Len Bias. You know what Len Bias is? So my father came in the house fuming. He had tears in his eye. So when Len Bias passed away, if you ever do drugs, I will kill you. And that's why I don't do drugs or drink.
Yeah, Shaq's upbringing helped him stay grounded, even as he became a basketball superstar. He refused to let the perks of fame and fortune take over his life, and instead he remained focused and determined to succeed. As a result, he became one of the richest and most iconic players in NBA history. Shaq's dedication and integrity are truly admirable, and he is undoubtedly a basketball legend. I have nothing but respect for him. He is a true GOAT for real.